Hi, it's Peg and Des on
Breaking Bad.
Before we dive in, I want to remind you guys, subscribe to our channel and give us a thumbs up on our channel, on our video.
Absolutely, and make sure to catch the other videos on our channel. I want to talk about the fact that Walt is praying.
Yeah, I think that Walt, I don't know that Walt is praying to anyone in particular, but that scene was great, right? I mean, once again, Walt is like almost caught. He's almost caught. You see the police lights flashing. He can't find the keys to this car that he's hiding in. But in a way, the car's a perfect hiding spot because it's so covered up with snow that they don't, suspect he's in there.
Right.
And then they go away and he miraculously, some might say, finds the keys to this car. And then they play that awesome Buddy Robbins song. I love the song they played during that scene because it starts out with "A bullet may find me tomorrow," but something about finding his love today or being with his love today. I thought it was a really good insertion there. Right. So we don't know where Walt's going. We just know he seems to be headed back to New Mexico. On his way back, he makes a phone call, and it turns out he's looking for Gretchen Elliott. Now I have to say I wasn't expecting that. I really thought he was going to go straight for the Nazis, but apparently he has business with Gretchen and Elliott.
See him at the Schwartz home. He doesn't seem like he's particularly concerned about being seen or about doing anything in a timely fashion. Matter of fact, he even stands on the steps of the house and acts like it's his for a moment and throws his hands up.
Yes.
Like I'm the king of the world almost.
Well, I think he's thinking, look what this gray matter money has wrought these people. I mean, they're trying to erase me from their history, and look at them. They had a beautiful house, I can't lie. I love that scene because he's just casually waiting for them to figure out he's there.
Right.
And it's so tense because you don't know what's going to happen when they realize he's there. And of course, Gretchen sees him, she screams. And this is honestly it was a very quiet scene, but it was one of my favorite scenes in Breaking Bad because it's indicative of exactly how the show's always gone. What you think is going to happen is not at all what's happened. You think he's there to exact revenge, but he's smarter than all of us again. He figures out that the only way to get money to his family, who better to do it through but these rich jerks that have all types of money.
Right, and he even says to them, this is your chance to make it right.
Yes.
You've wronged me, you need to come full circle, and you need to do this for me. And I actually thought when he said to them, can I trust you to do this? That he was actually going to leave it at that. Because, I mean, up until that point, it had just been a conversation about deliver this money for me. I thought he was going to walk out. And then all of a sudden, red dots are appearing on people's chests.
Honestly, I didn't really believe that he was going to trust them. I personally thought Gretchen was ready to call the cops as soon as he walked out of that house.
Right.
And so the red dots, when he went like this, I was like, did he rig something for it to do that? I really thought he rigged something up. But I thought it was genius because Gretchen looked like she was about to pee her pants.
She and Elliot, both of them look like they are just shaking in their boots.
But we find out that it's a fake out.
Right.
It's a fake out with Badger and Skinny Pete had these laser pointers, and I thought that was great because, in a way, it made sense. Where was Walt going to find a hitman? He was talking about in Granite State finding a hitman and needing Saul to help him to get the Nazis. And so I was like, I don't know where to get a hitman. So there's no way that Walt would have found two of the best hitmen in Mississippi in that short of a period of time anyway.
But not to mention the fact that two hitmen who are going to follow through on something 10 months and 2 days or whenever Flynn's birthday is from now.
Right.
So, I mean, what's to say a hitman can't take your $100,000 and move on with his life and your money is never delivered and none the wiser. So that piece didn't make sense to me either. At that moment, I knew something was up. I didn't know that two people were out there, but I did think that he'd rigged some sort of light to scare them because I didn't believe that piece about the hitman for that reason.
But I thought it was an ingenious plan. I think it is going to keep them on the straight and narrow.
Right.
I think his family will get the money. And so now Walt's taking care of piece of business number 1. Now he's going to go for piece of business number 2 at the diner.
Right. So he comes in, and once again, Walt is moving like he isn't too concerned. He is very close to Lydia and Todd, and then at some point turns around and starts talking with them. And we see her ask again for stevia. I mean, you know, Lydia has this routine: the chamomile tea, the soy milk, and the stevia. And of course, we know that Walt has ricin.
Right. And I didn't understand how he was going to get it to her. I didn't see him do anything. They did do the close-up when she was pouring the stevia into the tea, so you figured it was in there. But I thought that was quite a bit of sleight of hand that he did. I was like, how do you know those other people at the other table won't take that ricin-laced pack of stevia, Walt? Like, that was a risky little plan.
But he said that she's a person, she's a creature of habit, she works on a schedule, and there was only one packet of stevia in that little container because she asked her waiter for more.
Yes. So he reaches over to the exact right pack, I suppose. But I thought it was great because Lydia, thinking she's smarter than him, tells Todd, we're not going to work with this dude. You need to kill him.
Right.
So Todd's like, oh, okay.
So just such a dopey-faced guy. Such a dopey-faced guy.
So Walt is taking care of that, and now he goes on to piece of business number 3, which is Skylar. Now, I thought it was a great reveal to the audience, the way they revealed that Walt was in the kitchen, because you see Skylar having the phone call with Marie.
Right.
And Marie's warning her. And Skylar's like, yep, got it. Gotcha. Okay, no problem. And then the camera slowly pans, and you see the whole time that Walt was in the kitchen, but hidden by a pole.
I think that the call between Skylar and Marie was particularly interesting because, again, we're only talking about, like you said, 1.5 years or 2 years. Look how far they've both come. One of them has a husband who is actually dead. The other one has a husband who's basically the Walking Dead and will be dead very soon. They're both in safe houses. Their families have been devastated. There's no indication what's going to happen to them moving forward. And it's just like, remember what it used to be like between these sisters and what these families used to be like.
Yeah, I mean, devastation all around. Skylar does give Walt 5 minutes, and I think it's an important 5 minutes because she finally gets some closure, I think, with him. I think that despite it all, she still loves this man. Part of her still loves him. And she finally got to hear him admit that he did not do all of this for his family.
Right.
He did it for himself. He enjoyed it. He was good at it. And it's cathartic to finally hear him confess.
Skylar's request to Walt is the same request that Jesse had of Walt in the desert a couple episodes back. Remember when Jesse was saying, just say that you want this. Say that this is what you need and what you want, and I'll do it. I'll get out of here and I'll leave you alone. Skylar is pretty much saying the same thing. Don't give me this line about you doing things for other people. Admit it once and for all, and Walt does.
Yeah. So he asked to see Holly one last time, which was sweet. And he got that little bit of closure. And at this point, I was thinking, this episode, I think people thought was going to be like this shoot 'em up, gangbusters, action-packed. I mean, we've had the 2 last episodes were so heart-wrenching and so, like, tough to watch that I think I expected this episode to be similar in tone, but it wasn't. It was almost, Walt was taking his time, and they took these moments,
right?
And he, took a moment to lay his hand on baby Holly's head, and it was just it did have an ending feeling to it.
It was a quiet episode.
It wasn't.
There was not a lot of dialogue. When I was thinking about the show and what was said after the show, there was not a lot of communication. A lot of events, but not a lot of communication. Just subtle things that were happening. And
you also got to see Flynn, Walt Jr., for the last time through the window, coming back to the house. And I think he knows, at least he has the peace of knowing he left him that irrevocable trust.
Right.
And thinking his family is going to be taken care of after all.
Right. And we also, of course, know that Skylar's going to be able to buy her freedom because Walt gives her that lottery ticket.
Right.
So not only does he hook Flynn up with the money, he hooks Skylar up with the exchange for freedom with the DEA.
Right.
I mean, granted, he got them into that mess, but at least he came back to help them get out of some of it.
And they'll get to find out where Hank's body is, which I think will be good closure for the family as well.
Absolutely.
And then he has one last piece of business, which is to go after those meth producers that are putting his name out there. And he's going to take care of it. And I thought this was amazing. When they showed him putting that gun contraption thing together in the desert, I didn't really understand what he was doing.
Right.
So I was completely unprepared for how it went down.
Right. I thought that there were two things that were funny about this episode. When he walked in and Opie/Todd was like, "You shouldn't have come here, Mr. White."
Yeah.
We know immediately this could be the end for Walt.
Yes.
But the machete or whatever, excuse me, not the machete, but the machine gun that he had went on for at least 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That thing just kept going. I said, "Oh, you're gonna make sure that everybody
he
in
had
here is dead."
so many rounds in there, and you could hear the noise of the mechanism continuing to spin even after the gun was done with bullets.
It went on forever.
Yeah, it was great. So, I think one thing that he did, and I think his intention was to kill Jesse as well. And so that's why he said, "Oh, I want to see your partner. Where's your partner?" And when he saw the condition that Jesse was in, and I thought it was really poignant when you saw Jesse was daydreaming about making that wooden box.
Yes.
And, he'd always talked about how he was good with woodworking, and, he'd made this perfect box. And you could see that, he's still a slave in the meth lab, and they drag him in, and you could see the condition he's in. I think Walt realized, oh, I have to save Jesse as well.
I think Walt thought when he first came in that Jesse was conspiring as an equal partner, and everyone's, living well, eating well, and getting money, and this infuriates him. But then when he realized Jesse is a slave, you can actually see a change in his face, and then we see him attack Jesse, as the room thought that he was attacking Jesse, but we now know what that's about. The timer went off.
And the fireworks go off. It was operatic. I loved it.
Well, Jesse survives the whole ordeal.
And so does Todd. And Todd is so shell-shocked. He's like, "Mr. White." And then Jesse gets his revenge. And he chokes the life out of Todd in the most brutal way.
There goes your mascarpone ice cream. That right there, that was your whatever. Who cares? Who cares? There you go.
Oh man, you can tell Jesse took a lot of joy from choking Todd to death.
He had it in him.
Yeah, and then Walt basically says, "Here's the gun. Do the same to me." And Jesse's like, first of all, Jesse sees that Walt's already been shot, and I think he thinks, you know what? I'm done doing what you have to say. Thanks for saving my life and all, but I'm out.
Right. And Walt, of course, does his final goodbye in the meth lab, walking past the same equipment that got him where he ended up.
But he was lovingly in the meth lab. I think he had peace. As much as I didn't think this show was going to have a happy ending, I think it had about the happiest ending that Vince Gilligan could have given us.
Right.
Because Walt was always our hero, even though he was doing terrible things. And he accomplished so much in this episode and did so much of what he wanted to do that he died in peace. And I was happy for that. And Jesse got away.
Jesse got away in a screaming fashion. I mean, just screaming for his freedom. I think totally understood him in that moment.
I think Jesse's going to find Brock and raise Brock and
do some woodworking.
I
was actually hoping that Jesse was going to be able to find all that leftover money and live a decent life.
Listen, Jesse's had money and he's thrown it out the window. He spent it on drugs. Jesse doesn't know what to do with money. Jesse does not need money.
I was just like, where's that $70 million?
Jesse needs a job.
Where's the $70 million?
Don't worry about it. Buried somewhere.
But yeah, that's it. That's the show.
That's the end. Thank you so much, Vince Gilligan, Breaking Bad cast and crew. Amazing series. I loved it from beginning to end.
Absolutely. It was a great show. One of the best, I would say. One of the best series that's ever been done.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching this. Stick around. Please remember to subscribe to our channel.
Absolutely.
And give us a thumbs up on the video.
Yeah, and check out the other videos on our channel.
All right. Bye.